So good day everyone. So I will be the one to continue what Miss Tinia have discussed, and I'm going to discuss to you the four physical growth cycles, the type of physical movement, areas of motor development, infant reflexes, and basic sensory and perceptual processes. So without further ado, let's discuss first what are the four physical growth cycles. So as you can see in the slideshow, the first period of rapid physical growth or growth spurt goes from conception to 6 months old, and the rate of growth gradually slows down during the toddler and preschool periods. The second period of rapid growth is during puberty, so pre-adolescence and adolescence, and then lastly is the period of leveling off occurs after puberty until the growth adult is achieved. So physical growth refers to an increase in body size. It's either length, height, or weight. So, and in the size of the organs, of course. So, from birth to about age 1 to 2 years, children grow rapidly. So after this rapid infant and early toddler growth slows until the adolescent growth spurt. So as growth slows, children need fewer calories, and parents may notice a decrease in appetite. And then a 2-year-old children can have very erratic eating habits that sometimes makes parents anxious. So some children may seem to eat virtually nothing yet continue to grow and thrive. So actually they usually eat a little one day and then make up for it by eating more the next day. So during the preschool and the school years, growth in height growth in height and weight is steady. So children tend to grow a similar amount each year. So until the next major growth spurt occurs in early adolescence. So that's the four physical growth cycles. So I hope that you listen and learn something about it. So next on this slide is the types of physical movements. There are three types of physical movements: the locomotor movement, non-locomotor movement, and the manipulative movement. So let's discuss first what is locomotor movement. So locomotor movement is the movement of the body that occur from one place to another place. So locomotor movement skills are those in which the body is moved in one direction or a combination of directions from one point to another point. So activities such as walking, jogging, moving forwards, backwards, side shuffling, skipping, running, jumping, hopping, and leaping are considered fundamental locomotion movements. So next is we have the non-locomotor movements. So non-locomotor movements are the movements of the body that do not include moving from one place to another place. So it is the type of movement occurring above a stationary base. Movement of the body around its own axis were also called as axial movement. So which includes bending, stretching, pushing, pulling, bouncing, swinging, shaking, and twisting. So that is non-locomotor movement. So let's move forward to the last one. Excuse me. The manipulative movement. So it is the skills that require an ability to handle an object or piece of equipment with control. So manipulative movements involve the body as well as the objects. Examples of manipulative movement including throwing, catching, kicking, hitting, striking, dribbling, punting, and volleying, because you will going to use an object which is the ball that you will going to use in that particular movement. So these are the movements that are complex and are often used in athletic activities and sports. So that was the different types of physical movement. Again, locomotor movement, non-locomotor movement, and manipulative movement. So let's move forward to the areas of motor development. So first is we have the gross motor development. So it is the skills involving large muscles movements. So gross motor skills are the abilities usually acquired during childhood as part of a child's motor learning. So by the time they reach 2 years of age, almost all children are able to stand up, walk and run, walk upstairs, and many others. So next is we have excuse me, fine motor skills. So it is the skills use of smaller muscles. So fine motor skill is the coordination of small muscles in movements with the eyes, hands, and fingers. Excuse me. The complex levels of manual dexterity that humans exhibit can be related to the nervous system. So fine motor skills aid in the growth of intelligence and develop continuously throughout the stages of human development. So that was the areas of motor development, the gross motor development, and then the fine motor skills. So next is we have the infant reflexes. So we have there different examples or some examples of reflexes. So we have first is the eye blink. So the stimulation of eye blink is that it will shine bright light at eyes or clap near head. So the response in this is quickly closed eyelids, and the age of loss is permanent, as you can see in the table, and its function is to process infant from strong stimulation. Next is we have rooting. Rooting is the stroke cheek near corner of mouth, and then the response is we have head turned towards source, and then the permanent of loss, the age of loss is 3 weeks, and then the function is help infants find the nipple. So next is we have sucking. So its stimulation is to place a finger in infant's mouth, and the response is the infant sucks rhythmically. So the age of loss of this is 4 months, and the function is permits feeding. So next is we have the moro. So moro, its stimulation is to hold infant on back and let head drop slightly or produce a loud sound against supporting surface. And its response is infant makes embracing motions by arching back, extending legs, and throwing arms outward, then bringing arms in. And then the age of loss of this is 6 months, and its function is to may have helped infant cling to mother in pass. So next is we have palmar grasp. So palmar grasp, its stimulation is placed finger in infant's hand and press on palm, and its response is spontaneous grasp of finger, and its age of loss is 3 to 4 months, and its function is to prepare an infant of voluntary reaching. So next is tonic neck. So tonic neck is its stimulation is to turn infant's head on one side while infant is lying awake on back. So its response is infant takes a fencing position, one arm extended in front of eyes and the other is flexed, and its age of loss is 4 months, and its function is to prepare infant for voluntary reaching. So lastly is we have the stepping. So its stimulation is to hold infant under arms and allow bare feet to touch a flat surface, and its response is infant lifts one foot after another in a stepping motion, and age of loss is 2 months in infants who gain weight quickly, and its function is to prepare infant for voluntary walking. So that is the infant reflexes. That are some of the examples or some of the different examples of infant reflexes. So next is we have basic sensory and perceptual processes. So we have smell, taste, touch, hearing, seeing, integrating sensory information. So we will discuss first the smell, taste, and touch. So the newborns are able to smell and recognize their mother's odor. So they can also taste, preferring sweets and responding negatively to bitter and sour taste. So they respond to touch as observed from the responses to painful stimuli. And the next is we have the hearing. So babies can hear, although they are less sensitive to higher and lower pitch and sounds than adults. So they can distinguish sounds and use sounds to allocate objects in space. So next is we have seeing. So seeing is a visual activity of babies is poor, but a 1-year-old can see as adults do what normal vision. So lastly is we have integrating sensory information. So infants begin to integrate information from different senses. They are often particularly attentive to information presented redundantly to multiple senses. So that's all my discussion, and I hope that you learned something from it. And thank you everyone, and God bless.